through the rain. Whoa. We're going to give people a chance to come on in before we get started this morning. Whoa. All right. Come on in. We have an amazing topic today. I'm so excited to be here with you guys talking about this, giving y'all a chance to come on in. Got my gospel playing. I'm gonna cut it off in just a second. Invite your friends. You will not want to miss this. I got my notes here, so we stay on track and on target today, and we get to everything. This song goes in. Jeffrey Golden is a beast. All right, let me cut this off. Let's see how we can do this. Where is it? All right, excellent. So my name is Ashley Nicole Kirkwood. I'm the founder of Mobile General Counsel and a company called Speak Your Way to Cash, where we teach speakers to land 5- and 6-figure contracts. When introducing myself, I like to say people call me for 2 reasons. 1, they want to make more money in their business, and 2, they want to have a legal strategy that undergirds that. Recently, we have done a lot of really good work on behalf of clients, helping them to expand their IP into different mediums. So helping people buy their intellectual property, them selling their intellectual property, them expanding it into new markets. And I was talking to someone on the other side of the negotiation table, and what the woman told me was that a lot of this stuff they've never done before. It is their first time putting these types of deals together. And I began to think, is it possible? Is it possible that the way we think about our legal strategy is all wrong? Is that possible? Now, I want to be really clear about who this live today is for. I'll be real clear about whether you should stay on or whether you should get off, okay? This live today is special and unique. This live today is for business owners who want to ensure not just that they're collecting intellectual property, not just that they have a legal strategy, but that that legal strategy has the capability to propel their legacy and at minimum will not tank it. Now, you may be wondering, how is it that having the wrong legal strategy or having an ill thought out legal strategy could tank my legacy? And why should I be listening to this? And why is this message so important? And why are you being so dramatic about this message? I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I go to negotiate deals on behalf of my clients, which is what I do. Now, earlier, I introduced myself and I said that people call me for 2 reasons. They want to make more money and they want to have a legal strategy that undergirds it. Let me explain that a little bit further. Not only do we at Mobile General Counsel draft contracts, but I am the lawyer you hire when you want it negotiated in such a way that you get the maximum amount out of the deal. There are some of you watching this right now who are going to get calls from studio houses, who are going to get calls from large publishing company. And I want to make sure through this live stream, I give you the confidence to not be so allured by the opportunity that you give up your destiny, and to not be so quick to look at only the cost that you work with the wrong person. And we're going to go through what that looks like. And I'm going to give you some nuggets about things like licensing, royalties, and monetization strategies that will balloon your brand. I have something so dope dropping soon that is really going to like change the game for entrepreneurs that are not just, because I joke with my friend about this all the time. And I'm like, I do not want to be 50 years old talking about, click the link below, please buy from me. Eventually, you're going to get to a place in your business where you want all the assets that you've created, all the products that you've put into the world to pay you for your lifetime. Okay, anyone want that? Is that appealing to anyone? If that's appealing to you, just drop yes in the comments. And then we're going to get into this. So number one, the number one thing I want you to remember, and if you're following along and you're committed to this mission and you're like, I need this information, I want you to drop these things in the chat. So number one question you need to ask yourself, the first warning I'm going to give, because I told y'all I'm giving some warnings today. I'm having some things that I want you to heed today. The first warning I'm going to give, are you hiring for price or permanence? Okay? Are you hiring for price or permanence? Now we're going to break this down because these are some mindset shifts that I've had to make in my life and in my business to really make sure I get some things. So number one, someone drop it in the chat if you can. Are you hiring for price or permanence? Now let me break this down with the story. I was in my first year of law school, and because I realized not everyone understands how the legal world works, I'm gonna give y'all some lowdown on how the legal world works. In the law, all us lawyers, the real ones, go to law school, right? If you're working with a lawyer that didn't go to law school, it's a problem, right? So all the lawyers go to law school, and all the law schools are ranked. I'm telling you this for a reason. I think it's gonna bless you if you lean into it. All the law schools are ranked. When I first started law school, y'all, I barely graduated undergrad. Got into the only law school that would accept me. It's called the John Marshall Law School in Chicago. I think now they changed the name to like UIC Law School, whatever. The ranking of the law school was like 180 out of 200. And I had a mentor that was like, you need to transfer law school so that you can learn more and expand your reach. You have to transfer law schools. And I was like, well, you know, I like my law school. The professors are pretty good. And she was like, no. It's not about what you like. It's not about what you can afford. It's about the opportunities that are going to open to you when you go to a higher ranked law school. Essentially, what she was telling me for my people who go to church is that I needed to go to a higher level no matter the cost. Okay? And she was like, if you stay where you're at, are you doing it for price or permanence? 20 years from now, were the relationships that you develop, are they permanent? Will they help your future? Will they help your children's future? Will they allow you to get into rooms you otherwise wouldn't have access to? Because if not, you're hiring for price. But if the only consideration is price, it's not a legacy move. Legacy is about permanence. You see what I'm saying? Y'all following me? If you're following me, just drop legacy in the chat. Legacy is about permanence. Now, here's the other thing about this that was so critical was that I was in a place that was good. I was already at school. I was already doing some things that were seen as successful. I was already at a place where people were saying, oh, that's good. They were clapping. They were saying, that's good. This is good things. You're in law school, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to tell you guys, and the message that I'm here to give you today, is that you may right now be in a place where people are applauding you, where they're saying that you're doing good. But yet you hear something or you see something that's telling you to go further and you're questioning it because you're like, but why? I'm doing good. But are you in a place for price or for permanence? Because let me tell you guys something. If you do not have all the money in the world, if you don't have all the money that you need or all the stuff that you think you deserve to acquire, and you make all of your decisions based on what you have, and what you have is limited, then you're not making decisions based on permanent impact. You're making it based on price. And temporarily that may work, but we're here to talk about permanence. Okay? So are you hiring for price or permanence? Are you making your decisions based on price or permanence? And here's the other thing that price will do. Your desire to be so caught up in the money of it, how much someone looks like they're making, how much someone looks like they're winning, it'll warp your ability to operate in the realm of reason. Okay? And I don't mean reason like frugality. I mean reason like your ability to question the validity of something. Here's the thing. I negotiate big deals. That's what I do. I'm great at it. But every time we go through a negotiation, I've never had a big deal close overnight. Let me repeat that. Every time I go through a negotiation, I've never had a big deal close overnight. One of the things that you're able to leverage as an exceptional attorney in a negotiation is time. But every big deal takes some time. Now, why do big deals take time? And I'm going to talk real big deals. The firm I came out of, they would work on mergers and acquisitions between two giant companies. Listen to this. And when one company would want to purchase another company, they would go through a process called diligence. The diligence process could slow down or speed up the deal based on how much diligence both sides were willing to put in, how much vigor they were going to put into the research. Some of you are making your decisions with people, deciding to work with people without doing any diligence into whether or not they can take you to the level you want to go. You're looking at the price, you're looking at what appears to be prosperity, but you're not doing your diligence. Don't get caught up in the flash. Now that's another point. But essentially, what I want you to know is that there is a time in your life where you're going to have to stop making decisions based on price and start making decisions based on permanence. As you get older, when you think about what you want to leave your children, we're going through the estate planning process, and it's a process. We have to evaluate once we are gone, which is permanent, what assets are we putting in the trust? How old will she need to be to access it? Who will we want her to talk to if we were not here? Who are you comfortable with working in your proxy? When you hire people, especially attorneys, especially accountants, you have to trust that if you're not in the room, they're going to bat for you. And you also have to trust that in the face of giants, they won't cower. Let me be very clear here, because as a believer and as a Christian, I was taught to be very meek. Like, I was raised to be kind. Let other people go in front of you. Let other people take their turn. Don't talk when grown folks are talking. But there will come a time when you are hiring an advocate. You want them to go into that room, and no matter who is on the other side of the table, they go to bat for you. I'm gonna tell y'all something else. Now we're gonna talk about war stories today. I'm letting you guys in on this, and I'm praying that the people that see this, the CEOs that watch this, the entrepreneurs that are running growing businesses, I won't say small, but growing businesses, will hear this and say, yeah, because what I'm building deserves that level of protection. That's what I'm hoping for. So let me tell you guys this. When we would go to trial on behalf of the client, when I was at Kirkland & Ellis, we would get to the place where we were going to try the case in advance. I tried cases in federal court all over the country. So we'd have to fly in and set up. We came with an army. We called it an army because the room we set up to prepare for trial, guess what it was called? It was called the war room. Why was it called the war room? Because they wanted us to have the mindset that we are supposed to conquer and win against the other side, right? And it sounds dramatic, and it is. But the mentality that was there was when you go into this room, you are preparing to compete. Let me help y'all with something. Some of you are worried about that word competition. You're worried about that word compete. You make posts like there's no competition amongst friends. There's no competition amongst people. Let me tell you something. Competition keeps you sharp. There is not a business in the world that does not have a plan for their competition. Now, here's a nugget that I got from a book that I was reading that I loved. He says competition is honor. Because for me to deem you my competition, that means I am saying something good about your position, about what you've built. There's nothing wrong with competition. However, in order to prevail in any competition, you have to have a plan. You have to prepare. And the fact of the matter is you have to prepare for permanence and not only look at price. It's a consideration, but it can't be the only consideration when we're talking about legacy and things like that. Good? All right. Number 2. The other warning, when you're figuring out who's going to be on your team as you build your legacy, who's going to be on your team as you prepare your assets to produce income from you long term. Number 2, do they stretch your imagination or expand your vision consistently? Let me break this down. Do they stretch your imagination or expand your vision consistently? This looks like this, because some people are like, well, I don't know how to hire a lawyer. I don't know how to hire an accountant. I don't know how to hire a strategist. This is what strategists do that regular attorneys or regular accountants don't do. Every time I talk to my tax strategist, he stretches my imagination. He allows me to see the world in a way that like I see the world differently, because after speaking to him, I'm able to see a world with new possibilities. Okay? When people come into the fold at Mobile General Counsel, right? When you're a part of the MGC family, Mobile General Counsel, the firm that I founded, you come in and you tell me your ideas and what you want to do and what you want to get done and what you want to accomplish. And if you're on our legal subscription, or I'm negotiating your licensing deal, or I'm drafting your contract for a huge speaking agreement, it is my job to see what is your vision of the world, and then how can we take that and expand it. That's the strategic side that my consistent counsel clients get when we operate as Mobile General Counsel for them. When we have them on our subscription program, we're talking all the time. And our goal is to stretch their imagination, show them a world with new possibilities. And if you're not getting this, right? If you're working with people that never stretch your imagination, then you want to rethink that. The second part of that is, do they expand your vision? So here's the truth. At this level, what I'm talking about, negotiating larger deals for clients, ensuring that you're a strategic partner, helping you to think bigger. I am to expand the vision, not give you the vision. Let me explain. You are the CEO. It is your vision, your company, your vision. I am supposed to undergird that with a really solid legal strategy and help you to expand it with strategic thinking. But it's your vision. It has to first start with your vision. Okay? So keep that in mind. That is to say that as the CEO of your business, you do need a vision. There's a good book, Vivid Vision. Read it, check it out. But you need a vision. And I'm going to give you all a sneak peek about something. Ooh, I shouldn't even. I'm going to do it. So at Speak Your Way to Cash Live, my event that I'm planning for people who want to land large contracts and grow their business that way, I'm doing some research for a session that we have coming up. It's called the Dreamer's Den. It's ridiculous. It's going to be cold. Make sure you're at the event. And in the research that I was doing, I found a Psychology Today article that talked about how when you imagine something so vividly, like you imagine yourself working out, you imagine yourself running a play if you're an athlete, it actually has similar effects as to when you actually work out. Like you can literally think your way to more strength. Whew! Look, let me say that again because it blew my mind. You can think your way to physical results, and it's been proven in science. Now, I can't give y'all that much more because that's a little, I'm doing that at the Dreamer's Den at Speak Your Way to Cash Live. It's going to be bananas, so get there. But just that little snippet that I gave you, think about that. Sometimes you're too busy. If you don't have a clear vision, it's probably because you have a whole lot of stuff clogging your mind, clogging your imagination, clogging your schedule. You're in a rush to do everything for everyone. You're in a rush to hire fast. You're in a rush to grow quick. You're in a rush to look at what everyone else is doing. But if you sat still with your own thoughts and you co-created a vision in your life with God or whomever you believe in, you would be better off. It wouldn't be so hard. It would be better. And even when it got hard, the vision would be so powerful and so strong that it could help you physically resist all the opposition that you're going to take. And it's been proven in science. For those of you who are like, I need the science behind it, look it up, right? Look it up. If you're at the Speak Your Way to Cash Live, we're going to talk about it in depth and do some visualization exercise to help you in the physical world, right? But like, if you're not coming, then you got to look it up, right? But keep that in mind. So bringing it back to service providers that we hire to help us with legacy, do they stretch your imagination or expand your vision? That's critical. It's just critical. This is not about being on an assembly line with people. And it's not that all people need to stretch your imagination and be visionaries, but your leadership team, which is the level at which your lawyer, your accountant, your tax strategist have to play and have to sit, they have to have that capability. And there's a difference. All lawyers are not created equal. To be clear, All accountants are not created equal. They have different lanes that they have mastered. And it's not just about information, because you're going to see people that will grow their business into different areas and they'll be able to expand and do all those things. And that's okay. But it's not just about gathering information. Can they see around the corner as it relates to what you've hired them to do? Because I'm going through a process right now, this very day. You all know I'm producing this massive event. It's going to be incredible. We are ordering in I have all types of proofs and books and boxes for Speak Your Way to Cash Live that I have to print and get proofed. And I hired someone to help me with one aspect of my project. Okay? And I hired them to help with this one aspect of the project. And I found a glaring error in that aspect of it. And because they didn't see around the corner, it's going to cost me more money. Okay? Now, this is something, thank God, that with money and a little bit of my time, which I don't like giving, but I can give, I'll be able to fix. But in the event of your legal strategy, let's talk specifics here. If you come to me and you tell me there is a clothing line that wants to do a licensing deal with your brand, they want you to design all their clothes, and then they want to use some of your logos and some of the artwork that you've created on their items. And they want you to show proof of title, proof that it's really your work, proof that you own it. And they want to see all the contracts you have with your vendors to make sure that there is nobody that can sue them all the way down the road. So they ask you very calmly, show us proof of title. Who owns this? And which firm did you use? And what's the number? What's the registration number? And do you have proof of the certificate? Do you have the original certificate? When they start asking you all those questions, and this is a big deal, you're excited about the deal, you posted about the deal, you told your friends about the deal, but under inspection, your contracts don't add up. Yikes. It could cost you a licensing deal. And I say licensing, but let me describe what that means. Licensing is a fancy word to say you have the right to sell a portion of your rights or all of your rights to other people. The specifics of what you're selling are codified in a licensing agreement. That agreement needs to be really good. And if you're going to get one, work with someone who does a lot of them and who does them well. So that's a licensing deal. So then another portion of this, though, is that sometimes there's royalties involved, depending on the agreement. Royalties mean that because you are the creator, and it can mean a lot of different things, but let's just give an example. It could mean that because you are the creator, you get paid on your IP for life or a period of time. Contracts will break down all the specifics, right? But if you have an opportunity to get a big deal, and you don't have all your stuff together, it could cost you. If it's not done right, it could cost you. Literally, it could cost you the deal, or it could cost you more money to have it done right in the future. So if you're going to make a decision on price, if you're going to make a decision without doing diligence, if you're going to make a decision in haste, then be prepared to pay later, either in lost opportunities or more money, okay? Now, here's the other thing. The third question you have to ask, and I'm going to recap the first two. So the first thing we discussed is, are you hiring for price or permanence? When you're doing legacy work, when you're building a big company, when you're building a brand that you want to leverage for life, and you want to get royalties and multi-million-dollar deals and 6-plus-figure checks on it, and you want other people to buy it and be a part of the process of getting it out into the world, you have to ask yourself, are you hiring for price or are you hiring for permanence? And then secondly, whomever you're hiring, your leadership team, do they stretch your imagination or expand your vision? Critical question 3. Are you allowed, okay, let me restate this. Are you allured by cuteness or competence? Are you allured by cuteness or competence? Now, here's what I mean by this. I had a salesman call me the other day and they were trying to sell me a product. They wanted me to spend, I don't know, it was like five figures plus on this technology. And the sales rep calls me and he's like, Ashley, let me tell you something right now. we work with Tony Robbins. We work with Grant Cardone. We work with like all these big names, right? He's like, we work with all these guys and they came to us when they didn't have anything and now they are super rich. Is that what you want for your business? And I was like, let me take a step back. I think it's amazing that you have a really good client list, but can you tell me more about the specifics of the technology? He was unwilling to do so. Well, that's interesting. If the underlying service is so good, then why, when I inquire more into it, will you not give me any details? Right? And it's not that. And for me, it's like, okay, I'm down to book the sales call, but we were on the sales call. I'm down to go through your process, but we were a part of the process. So for me, it's like, I cannot afford, and I'm going to say I can no longer afford, because I've done this. I've been allured by the cuteness. I've been allured by the nice bags or whatever. Like, I've been allured by the big names. I've been allured by the big stages. I did that already. And what I learned is, under the hood, once they're off stage, a lot of people cannot withstand inspection. And so a lot of times what they do is they want to downplay knowledge and work. Sign, warning sign. They want to downplay their educational experience or work ethic. They want to downplay how many books you're going to have to read. They want to downplay how much work it's going to take. And why do they want to downplay this? Because they're hoping to appeal to your desires more than your rationale. They don't want you to look too deep. And I had to tell a potential client the other day, I'm like, look, baby girl, a lot of lawyers aren't going to tell you this. And I don't think I said baby girl. That's unprofessional. I'm pretty sure I said, hey. Most lawyers won't tell you this, but what you actually need to do is A, B, and C. You do not need to pay me right now. First, you need to do this. Then, only after you do this, do you come to me and do this. And the reason why I could tell her that, the reason why I turn away clients and I turn away money all the time is because I don't need anything. I don't need anything. And I take that back. I need God. I need my family. I love God. I love my family, but I don't need your money. Sorry. It's nice. I appreciate my clients, but they're not paying me just to support my business. They're paying me because I serve on an incredibly high level and I'm able to give them insights into things that they otherwise wouldn't have access to. And because I'm going to tell them no, I'm going to say you're wrong. I'm going to say we shouldn't do this. We should do that. And if you decide to go against my advice, I'm going to make you sign something saying I at least warned you. And that's not popular because, again, people, and I almost want to go there, right? Like, I almost want to go to the fact that every time something is, I remember working, I'm going to give you all, this is a good example. Thank you, God, for reminding me of this. When I worked for Philip Morris, okay, I worked in the cigarette industry as an intern, and I talk about this a little bit in my book. I worked in the cigarette industry as an intern, and I took the job because I was like, I really want to learn how big businesses do outside sales. That was the entire purpose of the role. So I would go and I would, be the person who determined the cigarette prices in gas stations, in liquor stores, etc. And this was a long time ago. And I remember when I would go into gas stations and liquor stores and all of that, and I would sit in these meetings and people would talk about where the industry was going. They were trying to increase their market share in some of the cigarette companies, not ours, but some of the cigarette companies were trying to increase their market share in the Black population. And so what did they do? They updated the branding to make it look cooler. They started having relationships with different rap artists. The music started to change. They wanted to have colored and flavored cigarettes. It was all about what the eye could see. I would go into these gas stations and liquor stores. I've never talked about this. I would go into these gas stations and liquor stores and they would say, we don't put the, look at how that company puts their signage at the height of a child. It's because they're hoping that the child can tell their parent that they really want it. This is merchandising. And look at how they use the color blue. They're hoping that your eye will go there and you'll think about this and then you'll buy this. Another industry I interviewed in, I did a lot of interviews in what they used to call the sin industries. No judgment, it was just a term. So then I would go and do my interviews in casinos. I was interviewing for a casino, and they were like, when you walk into the casino, what do you see? There's no, I was like, oh, there's no windows. They were like, but look how bright it is. The reason there's no windows and the reason it's so bright is because we know that if we can get people to just forget about time, and if we could just get people to see that it's still so bright, they'll keep gambling. They'll keep playing. They'll keep playing. They'll keep playing. If we could just get them to forget about time, if we could just get them to forget about what they have to do at home, to forget about what they're in it for, to forget about their purpose, to forget about these things, they'll keep playing. They'll keep spending money. We don't want them looking outside. We don't want them to see the clouds passing them by. We don't want time to be a barrier for them. We want them to spend all their money and all their time with me. So yes, I understand branding, but my husband said something that was so powerful and controversial, and I hope you're okay with me sharing it, so I'm gonna share it with y'all. It ain't too many of us on here today. I'm gonna share it with you guys. He said, honestly, actually, if you look at it all, marketing is manipulation. Think about it. I'm not saying bad or good, but what I'm saying is everyone has a goal at the end of the day. All of the marketing materials that we put out at the end of the day has a goal and it has a purpose. And we have to play the hands that we're dealt sometimes. But a lot of times you can operate outside of the ordinary. But when he said that, it got me to thinking, okay, you're right, because we're trying to get people to do something other than what they were going to do originally. You know, I run Facebook ads. I want you to stop and look at the thing, right? I want you to stop. You weren't thinking about stopping. I ran an ad so you could stop. I want to get your attention. I'm doing a live. I want you to listen to me. So I get what he's saying. But here's what I want to empower you to do. Inquire into the thing. Inquire into it. Anything that is built on a solid foundation can withstand inquisition. And if you're hiring people that are petrified of telling you that you're wrong, that are paralyzed of disappointing you, you'll never be working with people that'll push you outside of your comfort zone. You'll never work with people that'll push you past your limitations. If all you want them to do is to stroke your ego, then you don't need a legacy mate for that. When you allow someone to touch your vision, you are allowing them into your intimate space in a way that they should be qualified to enter. You're allowing them into a space that should be sacred to you. So I'm doing this live to kind of show you guys the things that you should be thinking about. He's not lying. There's always a goal. It is what it is. So the number 3 thing was, are you allured by cuteness or impressed by their competence? Are you allured by cuteness or impressed by their competence? That salesman who called me wanted to be allured by those big names. He wanted me to be distracted by how successful other people were. But I want to know about the root of the thing. I want to know about the system that I'm going to be using. I want to make sure that it's right for my vision. I am not impressed because someone has amassed wealth. How they got it matters to me too. And I've talked about this before. Because of my values and because of my beliefs, I do not believe I am put on this planet solely to amass stuff. Solely to get money so I can vacation well, and my family can be set. That to me is not a big enough mission to drive me forward and make decisions. It's not. Can you stretch my mind? Can you allow me to think in such a way that I can impact more people while maintaining my integrity? Getting prosperity absent peace doesn't do it for me. It doesn't. So I can't be allured by cuteness anymore. I need to be impressed by competence. I want you to say something that makes me think beyond where I was when I first interacted with you. That's what I want you all to look for. That's what I want to empower you all to look for. And let me tell you something else. You work with some people, And you scared to ask questions because you like, well, they gonna go off. They ain't gonna want to answer this question. They ain't gonna answer this email. They told me it ain't in the package. They said if I email them one more time, they gonna hit me with a bill. They don't want to. I tell my clients, I'm like, look, I would rather you come to us than not. Don't overthink it. Now, if we can't help you, or if we have to give you, we have to give you an invoice for it, or it's going to require more work, at least you've given us the opportunity to help. Because I know who we work with. We work with bosses. We work with brillianceers. Like, everyone we work with is brilliant, right? Everyone we work with is brilliant. They're producing big things. They're excited by the idea of movie contracts or TV deals, or they're excited by the idea of them getting royalty checks on product lines. They're excited about the idea that their book could be in a variety of different mediums. They're excited by the idea that they can create things that will outlive them and their children can eat from them. That's enticing to the types of people I work with. I work with innovators. I work with clients that may wake up thinking about a dope idea and got to email me whether the name is available. I work with clients that want to get on the phone and talk about all the ways they can leverage the IP that they have. I work with clients that are like, yeah, it's very possible that, a large shoe manufacturer will call this week and a studio house will call the next. And I work with clients that even if they can't quite see it yet for themselves, they're open to the possibility of the unimaginable happening in their lives. I'm going to say that again. I work with clients who, even if they can't quite see the vision clearly yet all the way for themselves, they are open to the idea that the unimaginable could happen in their lives. I know that's who I work with. I know that's who I'm here for. And because that's who I'm here for, I got to do talks like this with us. I got to bring us in, okay? I got to come close so that we don't get scammed out here. And it's not even about scamming all the time. But I just want you to be as savvy as possible. I'm that type. I like a savvy consumer. I'm not trying to set you up on no $3.99 subscription, hoping you forget about it. And that's how 70% of our revenue is made. That ain't me. When the bills come, you're going to feel the bills coming. You're going to know they're coming, and you're going to get something good out of it, something great out of it. So that's what I want you all to remember. Are you allured by cuteness, or are you impressed by competence? What is the substance of what they're saying? What have they done? Who have they worked with? What terminology are they utilizing? How have they proven their expertise? But then this next one's going to get y'all. There are some people who will read a book and get information. There are other people who can see around the corner. Are you working with people who are able to process information or set up sustainable strategies? Think about it and take that note down. Are you working with people who can just process information, or people who can set up sustainable strategies? Here's the difference. Information would be this. This would be information. I have a book up there. I don't think you all can see it. Oh, you all can see it on Instagram. All right. I got several books up there. One of the biggest books up there is on licensing, filled with information, filled with information, filled with information. I bought it for myself, my associate, we were reading it. And then there was a few other people that were reading this particular book on my team. And the information is good. But when I read sentences on a page, I can process the information. But, and I want to make sure I say this right, what makes my clients money, what makes my clients happy is the fact that it doesn't stop with what's on the page. I'm not regurgitating a definition to them that I read somewhere. I am able to see beyond what is on the page and read the strategy. Whew! Listen, you need people. Like someone's like, what is a trademark? A trademark is a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's information. That is processed information. Strategy sounds different. Strategy sounds like, I see you have it in these 5 categories here, but you do know that if you really want to do a deal with so-and-so over there, they're a big company. It looks like the market is moving and one day they're going to be working with companies like yours. You probably should do an intent to use application for A, B, C, and D. I had a client, I was like, here's how we going to do this. You going to need to file this. Tell your lawyer to file this. And then we going to do this over here. That's strategy. That's different than processing information. That is seeing around the corner. That is seeing things that are not there yet, but planning for them as though they will be there in the future. When you read a book, it's real good to process information, but between each line, you need to see the strategy. There is a level that all of you watching this are going to have access to. Let me say this. There's a level that all of you are watching will have access to. You're going to need wise counsel. And I love the word counsel because sometimes lawyers are called counselors. It is not my job to look at what you have and do what you ask me to do. Right? Like it is my job to interpret what you're asking and give you the answer that you need because it's my expertise. You may not even ask me the question you need to ask because you didn't know to ask it, but it's still my job to try to the best of my ability to equip you with enough information so that you can make the moves you need to make in your business. So are you working with people who can process information or people who can read strategies that are not there? Do they see around the corner? Can you see around the corner as it relates to your brand? And what I would encourage you to do is just start practicing. Start practicing seeing around the corner as it relates to your business, as it relates to your life, as it relates to what you want to do. Because excuse me, everything on this planet started as a thought. Before it was there, someone thought about it. Their first iteration of it may not have been exactly as we see it now. Like take, for instance, the light bulb. There were so many iterations of the light bulb, so many times that it failed, tens of thousands of times it didn't work, tens of thousands of times the design changed for us to get the light bulbs that we have today, right? But it had to start with a thought. He had to see around the corner. He had to see something that wasn't there. And sometimes we take intellectual property for granted because we don't see it as just that. Your intellectual property, the stuff that comes out of your head, gives you the ability to see a problem and create a solution, see a solution that is not there, and then think about it, start getting some folks together to work on it, produce it, and then leverage it for the rest of your life. Now, in that process, if you want to one day have the opportunity to do things like licensing, to do things like negotiating deals to sell, to do things like getting royalty checks, then what you need to do is see around the corner as it relates to your brand. Like right now, it doesn't look like much right now. We don't have a lot of customers, but I can see this. I can see this being one of the largest companies in the world. I could see this impacting millions. I could see us having 10 to 15,000 employees. And if you close your eyes and you start to speak the vision out loud, what you will realize is internally, you may have a little bit of fear. And all you're doing is thinking about it. Let me explain that. When I start to speak, I really hope this is helping you guys. I had to get this one out. When I start to speak about my vision like that, I start to feel a little bit of fear, like right here. You know what I mean? Like I legit start to feel a little bit of fear. The reason for that is that goes back to what we talked about earlier. That proves what we talked about earlier, that thinking can literally physically make you stronger. All you're doing is thinking about it. So some of you wonder why you don't daydream, why you don't visualize, why you don't allow yourself to say you're going to do big things. And it's the fear. And one of the fears is What if I put it out there? What if I say it and then it never happens? And then what if I'm embarrassed publicly? And then what if I've said I was going to do all these big things and then it never happens? Play it out. What if it never happens? What if it never happens? And I'm going to give you 2 words that's going to help with that. What if it never happens? What if you're embarrassed publicly? What if they talk about you? What if they say you lied? What if they say you're a fraud? What if they say, you know, she's always talking that big stuff. It didn't even happen. Look at all that. She didn't even do all of that. What if they do it? What if they frenemy you? What if they act like they're your friends, but they're really not? What if they copy you? What if they steal you? What if they take your idea, they do it better? What if? I'm going to give you 2 words that an author gave me. And somebody already wrote them. So what? So what? So what? So what? You're going to keep going. But here's what's more important about it. Here's what's more important about that public failure. Here's what's more important about the fact that you're able to have a thought, to have a vision, to feel the fear and continue to visualize it. What happens is you get physically stronger. The science supports it. And you get more resilient. Some people believe they're resilient, but they have not faced a challenge big enough to test their resilience muscles. So yeah, you feel resilient. And yeah, you feel like you can overcome anything. But if anything hasn't happened, how do you know? You have to be willing to face anything for what you believe you're put here to do. A lot of people talk about legacy. A lot of people talk about them wanting to leave something behind. A lot of us dream about giving our children something more than what we got. A lot of us say we want to do big things. We say we want to help a lot of people, but the first chance we get, we race to the bottom. The first chance we get, we fight below our weight. And the first chance we get, we only want to be in rooms with people that make us feel good, but don't foster anything in us that makes us stretch. We only want friends that say we're blessed. We never want friends that say, girl, it's cute, but it's wrong. I just got to tell you, I had a friend today tell me this is dope, but you're going to have to redo this part of it. And what was so amazing about it was she didn't have your girl out here bogus. But what was also incredible about it and what I was so grateful for is that, and what was kind of sad about it, which after she told me, she was like, was that okay? Was it okay to kind of tell you that this good, but this ain't all that? Like that you're gonna have to fix it, that you're gonna have to go back and do it, that you gotta do another iteration, that you gotta go back to the ground. And do you know what I told her? I said, you know what? I'm so glad you told me because I got goals. I got stuff to do. I have people to impact, and I don't want people distracted by my petty mistakes that time would have allowed me to fix. I want to help as many people as possible, so I don't want them distracted by petty mistakes. Now, sometimes little typos and stuff, you got to let that go. You got to see beyond that. People who get caught up on that, I mean, it's nothing. But if you have the opportunity to make anything you're doing better and you balk at it, and you don't jump at it, and you don't take it, then you don't care about excellence like you say you do. If someone gives you the gift of criticism, the gift of telling you how you can do something better, and you don't even consider it, that's fine, but you just don't want to be as great as you say you do. Now, yes, you're going to have haters. Yes, you're going to have people who don't have your best interests at heart, but that is where discernment comes in. There are a lot of people that really do want to see you win, that really do want to tell you when you're doing something wrong, and they really do want to help. It doesn't mean you always have to take their advice, but at least don't do yourself the dishonor. Don't do yourself the disservice of shutting them down before considering it. One thing my dad taught me was that when we were growing up, we would always tell him different things and teach him new things. And when we were younger, he'd be like, what are they talking about? Like, they're young, they don't know. And he was like, but he always would consider it. It would seem unimaginable. It would be like, Daddy, can we jump on the moon and do this and do that? Like just wild stuff. And he never wanted to shut us down because he at least wanted to consider it. Well, can we? Is that a possibility? Is that something that might possibly be available to them in the future? And so you want to make sure with your children, with your employees, with your friends, even if you can't take the advice for whatever reason, consider it. Don't punish them for giving you good advice. Don't punish people in your life that are real ones for giving you real advice. Don't punish that service provider that told you it wasn't right because you wanted to get it done quickly. It's just not wise. It's just not wise. And this isn't for everyone. This isn't for everyone. This is for people who really want to create impact in the world far beyond the time that they will exist here. This is for you. This is for people who are frustrated with where they're at because they feel so busy, but they know that the seeds that they're planting will not produce. Why? Because they're not planting seeds for permanence. The things I love about gardening, my husband gardens, is that when he plants these bushes, he has these rose bushes he planted years ago. Over a year ago. And when he planted it in the ground, and he'd be like, do you see this? And I'm like, babe, what are you looking at? I'm like, babe, what are you looking at? Do you see this? Come over here, come over here. And I'm like, what, babe, what? Like during the pandemic, he really started gardening because it helped him. He'd be outside for 8 hours, sweating. It was a great workout, and he had something to do with his hands. He would plant it 2 weeks later. Baby, look at this. What? A couple months later. What, Chris? Babe, what? Babe, show me. Look at this. I'm like, oh, yeah. And I don't see nothing, y'all. I don't see nothing, okay? I'm like, what is he looking at? But he could see amongst the mulch this little bitty spark of green. And he was excited. Now, why was he excited? Because when he planted it, he couldn't see anything. Whew! I'm about to give y'all this message, okay? When he planted it, he couldn't see anything. A day later, he couldn't see anything. 2 weeks later, he couldn't see anything. But a couple months later, he could see a little spark of green. Now, to me, it didn't look like anything because I didn't plant it. Come on now. Come on now. Let me tell you guys this. I'm on LinkedIn too, giving this word. I decided to just be real on LinkedIn. I'm not going to play with y'all no more. Y'all gonna get this good word too. When he planted it, he didn't see anything. Now, when it started to sprout, and this is gonna help those of you who feel like you're not being celebrated. When it started to sprout, he was overjoyed because he knew that he planted it. Every day, he was able to wait in great anticipation of seeing the fruits of his labor because he planted it. And guess what? If you plant good seed, literally good seed, in soil that has an environment where it could grow, you're going to see something eventually. You just might not see it right away. Flip side, someone can go to the gardening store and they can buy a bush that's already blossomed. And they can take it home and they can plant it too. And immediately afterwards, what happens? They're like, whoa, look at what I planted. This is amazing. Bloop. And it's still going to grow and all of that and all of that. But to see the joy on my husband's face when looking at the bushes that he planted from scratch, the way he cared for them, the way he looked after them, the way he was able to go outside and see the anticipation and the joy on his face, it didn't matter if I would have screamed and did a backflip. He was going to be excited because he planted it. Some of the decisions that we make because we want people to applaud us. And when they don't applaud us, we stop because we're doing it for the applause, not for the permanence. When you start making decisions, when you start planting seeds, when you start hiring for the permanence, the applause is nice, but it will not stop you from opening the next night if no one shows up. You're still going to be there. There were so many times when I had to speak to audiences of one person, of two persons, live. Like I would show up, they told me it's going to be all these people there, and it'd be me in a room. And I would be so hurt, y'all. I would be like, oh my gosh, they told me they promoted it. They told me it was a lot of people there. They told me this, they told me that. And before I got on that stage, I told myself, I am going to do this as though there are millions of people in the stands, because everything happens for me. Nothing happens to me. Every season I'm in, it's for me. It's not to me. It's happening so that I can learn a new lesson. It's happening so that I can see new people. It's happening so that my character can be tested in such a way that's like, is she only going to show up and show out if she believes that people are going to be there in the audience applauding, or is she going to do her best work even if no one sees the mistake? Is she going to fix it? Is she going to continue to elevate and grow even though she's winning awards over here? What are you going to do? Right? What are we going to do? I go so hard in my business because I planted it. Even if you never see the growth, I remember it because I was there in the beginning when no one was looking at it. I was there in the beginning when the account had $0 in it. So yeah, my first $500, I was clapping for that myself. I could have posted, I just made $500 today on Facebook. It wouldn't have gotten no likes in the beginning of my business. It wouldn't have gotten any likes. People would have been like, 500, Jesus, is she gonna make rent? You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have gotten any likes. No one would have applauded because they didn't plan it. I don't know who needs to hear this, but they can't applaud for you because they did not plant it. It is not theirs. It is very difficult for people to see your vision. It's why it's yours. And if you plant it, and if you water it, and if you're consistent with it, because you understand in your mind that you're doing it for permanence, you will not quit when it gets hard. So I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who's having a tougher time in their business. I don't know who's looking at other people and you're applauding them instead of planting your own seeds. But I need you to hear me really good when I say this. You're going to have to plant it. You're going to have to water it. You're going to have to clap and get excited for yourself along the way. And when it blossoms into a beautiful tree, a lot of people are going to applaud you. But even then, you're going to make some mistakes and people are going to publicly criticize you. The thing that is going to keep you working towards your goals and keep you working towards your dream and keep you living out your legacy and establishing it so that it cannot be easily rocked or swayed is going to be the remembrance of you planting it. That's what's going to help you. It's going to be that. The fact that you planted it. They can't applaud for it because they didn't plant it. They can applaud when it's working, but they can't applaud because they didn't plant it. And because they didn't plant it, they'll applaud and they'll boo within 24 hours. Let me say it again. And because they didn't plant it, they will applaud and they will boo you within 24 hours. So you have to have the planter's heart. That's what's going to keep you motivated. That's what's going to keep you consistent. That's what's going to keep you operating in permanence. And that's what's going to make your legacy. Now, as a recap, my name is Ashley Nicole Kirkwood. I run Mobile General Counsel and Speak Your Way to Cash. People call me for 2 reasons. They want me to help them make more money in their business with large corporate contracts and negotiate those deals and have a really strong legal strategy that undergirds the vision. If you are interested in taking the next step with me in any capacity, then please do let me know. You can book a legal audit at mobilegeneralcounsel.com. If you do not have a strategic partner as your lawyer, then please do book a legal audit at mobilegeneralcounsel.com. If you're a speaker watching this and you know your business needs to go to the next level, you know there's some mindset hurdles you need to get over, you know you want to be at Speak Your Way to Cash Live, then you need to get your ticket because we're doing something at that event called a Dreamer's Den. It's the second session of the event. And what I am anticipating will happen, what's going to happen is you are going to see your future in a way that you've never seen it. It is going to stretch your vision of your business in a way that it has not been stretched. And it is going to expand your imagination in ways that remind you of your childhood. What we're fostering at this event is something unlike anything that's ever been done in the world. I can say that with confidence. I can say that with confidence because I know what I'm supposed to do here. I know what I'm supposed to do here for the people that I'm supposed to do it for. And I want you to come with that. And yeah, I have a ton of modules on strategy, you know, how to sell to corporations, a language lab, what to say on the sales call. We got all of that. But I'm most excited about the fact that when you come to Speak Your Way to Cash Live, November 4th through the 6th, 2021, either in person or virtual, we got both options. When you come to that event, what's going to happen for you? What's going to happen to you? What's going to happen for you, right? What's going to happen for you is you're going to leave with an expanded imagination. And I don't know many events that can say that. And I also don't know many that are so intentional about putting that together. I've never been to one. I can say that with surety. I've never been to one. And so I'm creating something that I haven't seen before, which means I am, through the process of putting this event together, through the process of laying out the foundation of what we're going to do, I am literally imagining things that I have not seen in the marketplace, and through my intellectual property, work ethic, and team, making it come to pass. So with the help of the Lord, I am praying that if you feel compelled at all, if you just want to, if you're just curious, if you're nosy, then I will see you at Speak Your Way to Cash Live 2021. Go get your tickets at speakyourwaytocash.com/event. This is Ashley Kirkwood, founder of Mobile General Counsel, lead speaker and strategic thought partner at Speak Your Way to Cash. And I will see you guys later. Here's what I want you to do though, before I go. Share this video with an entrepreneur that needs encouragement. You speaking to me, sis? I did a soft launch of my business that I've been reluctant to fully open for fear of criticism. I just saw your live and clicked, and now you're going to go and do it, Fonda, and it's going to be phenomenal. And guess what? Even if it ain't, even if it ain't, you have everything you need to recover from anything you may, quote unquote, suffer along the journey. So that's what I got for y'all. If it was good, share it, tag a friend, tell them about it. I'm gonna keep it up. But I really am grateful for your time. I don't take it lightly. I do not take it lightly at all. And I just want to keep doing what God put me here to do. I want to keep doing what I'm supposed to do. And I want to keep sharing messages that I don't hear a lot so that we can expand our mindset. That's what I like to do with my businesses and with my platform. All right. Thanks, guys. See you in November.